What is up, everyone? Back again with another video, and this is gonna be a little quick, somewhat half review of Black Adam. I just came back a couple hours ago from this movie. I watched it today, and it's been since I returned home. But I want to make a quick video telling you my thoughts about the movie. I'm not gonna be an in-depth review because I think not fully do that yet. And I'm not going to be any spoilers as well, of course, obviously. But I just want to tell you what I think overall about the movie very quickly. First off, this movie had a lot of hype to it, and it's just a big question I always had: will it live up to that hype? Really, will it really live up to that hype? And I'll answer that question by the end. But I want to go into this as that I didn't have too much high expectations for this song. For this movie. Sorry, I didn't have so much high expectations for this movie. It's just wasn't really grabbing me so much, really, as many maybe. But when I went into it, I was still interested to see what it could bring, and for the most part, it's okay. It's good. It has some interesting moments. I think the beginning is very interesting, and it shows off some decent promise with all the start with the lore of Black Adam and the backstory and all the starting of the backstory and all that stuff. I think that showed off some really good promise, some good dramatic kind of things. It starts off really in a solid way like that. But then with the story, for me, I believe as the movie goes on, that's all I'm gonna say. It just starts off with a little, but it's just trails off after that. After the first few minutes that shows a couple of things, it trails off really to the side, and it just becomes a little bit, kind of good. The story just goes all over the place and just isn't as engaging as it could have been. It's good. It's okay. It's not bad, but it just for me personally just doesn't really hook me. There is some fun moments in this, and I believe there is some good, really cool actions. The first big fight in this movie really is very solid and very good. But other than that, overall, I just don't feel like it really blew me away, as many people said it would. It just wasn't, the story overall wasn't anything that spectacular. It just kind of fell flat in the end, in a way. Just the villain was not that interesting overall. He just wasn't anything special in my opinion. It wasn't the worst ever, but it was just kind of underwhelming in the end. Also, the final fight too was not the absolute greatest thing. There is a moment in the end of the final that did get to me, and was really filled with a lot of different type of emotions. But overall, I just don't feel. Besides that, I just don't feel like it just the payoff of the whole thing was the absolute greatest. I like all the characters fine. They're doing good. Like Cyclone and Atom Smasher are fine, but they're not so much in the movie. They're more comedy, especially Atom Smasher, more comic relief kind of stuff. Kind of look goofy. Noah Centineo does a fine job, I guess, portraying the character. But then we have, of course, Hawkman. I don't remember the actor's name, but he does a good job as well. I enjoyed it for the most part, but just for him, it just seems a little bit, I don't know. Some moments were just a little bit stiff, but overall, he was not bad either. But I think they have then of course we have the side character too with I forgot the character's name now. The mom, the woman, she and her kid, and the uncle. they start off in the they are in this there's some couple characters. I'm not gonna say more than that. There's something that happens to them in the beginning, like when they go and try to look for a certain thing. But they are pretty good as well. They're okay. Not overly interesting, but they're fine. And then of course we have the main guy. Before we get to the best performers, we have the main guy, The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson as Black Adam. He does good. He does good. I believe that he does fit for this character. He does well. Some moments were a little bit just like I don't know, a little bit too good. I can say at some points a little bit too just out of place, but most of the time I think he did a decent enough job. I really like certain things they show about Black Adam's backstory. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but there's some things they show that I think were done really well. Um, and there's a twist in there as well about his backstory and everything towards the end, which I think it makes sense and it was good, but I don't know how well it was fully portrayed overall throughout the whole movie leading up to it. But when it does lead up to it, it kind of feels kind of flat when they do it, and then Black Adam gets sidelined for a while. But I'll do that for a little bit. I'm not gonna tell the whole thing. I don't want to spoil. There's no spoilers in this. This is just normal talk, I'm not barely. Trust me, I'm not telling barely anything in this. Just this is just the basic. You've basically seen most of this in the trailer, too. What I'm telling you. So there's something that in the middle of the movie that happens that makes the movie shift a little bit, and that's when it kind of slows down too much a little bit, in my opinion. But overall, he does a good job. Overall, like Dwayne does a good job. He portrays the character properly well, overall. And then to the best performer in this movie, Pierce Brosnan, man. He was the highlight of this movie for me, 100%. Dr. Fate, his portrayal of Dr. Fate, very well done. Kent is actually the character's actual name there. He does a very good job as portraying the character. A lot of emotions, a lot of even some funny moments here and there as well. Everything with him, I think, was really, really well done. I have no complaints about that, really. He was the highlight of the movie. He's the best part of the movie for me, 100%. And then, of course, the villain, I don't remember the actor's name, but just felt kind of flat for me. It wasn't really that wholly interesting. If you all know the comics, you all know you probably know who the villain is, but I'm not gonna tell for those who know. But I'm just gonna say that in the end, what it all leads up to is kind of underwhelming. It's kind of cool. It's a somewhat cool scene, but it's not really. It's somewhat rushed, in my opinion. It doesn't feel all well just brought out. But yeah, that's kind of what I feel about that. So overall, it's a okay movie. It's not nothing special, but it's not terrible either. It's not bad, but it doesn't really wow me as most people I heard before said it would. I don't really feel like this is that much of a groundbreaking movie. It doesn't really do that much crazy stuff. There's like way too much. Like there's a lot of things happening quick, bam, 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 at some points, and then they don't really slow down. And when it does somewhat try to slow down in the middle a little bit, it just doesn't feel like really right. It just feels like it goes stale, and then it just goes right back to into the action, and it just it doesn't. You cannot really. It doesn't really let it sit like everything in the story. It just goes bum bum bum. You have there, and then a little there, and then come on, there goes that. The opening act, the introduction, the middle stuff that goes a little slow, and then the last stuff. And they just like it's just thrown in there. I know they did reshoots for this thing, and I guess that possibly fixed a few things. I guess maybe it would have been even if I don't know, but overall, I just feel like it doesn't really go together all fully that well. It's just not really a big thing. That's my initial thoughts, at least. Um, it's not the greatest, absolute greatest thing. It just, yeah, but I hope you guys still can enjoy it. I think it premieres in a couple of days over there in the US. I think either tomorrow or on Friday. I'm not entirely sure, but I think so. I think it's the 21st of October everywhere in the US. I believe so, at least. But anyway, either way, hopefully other people can maybe like, but I didn't like. But overall, did it live up to the hype? That's the question. For me personally, it didn't really do that. It didn't really do that. But it wasn't bad. I'm happy that I at least saw it once. You know, it wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen. You know, there's other movies that are way worse than this, and that I couldn't even sit through whatsoever. Like Wonder Woman 84 and what else? Like even some of the earlier earlier Batman with Superman and all that stuff. It just those movies I just felt like were just really dumb. But and like Birds of Prey and all that stuff, just didn't really feel those. But even some other movies too. I just don't like what was the like. I don't remember what movie it was now. What more movie it was? I cannot remember that. But like I feel like some people felt that way about it for Ragnarok, for Love and Thunder and stuff like that too. So, but this I felt that like it was a little bit rushed. It wasn't really as it could have been. It has potential. It has some good moments in there, but it just feels not fully there yet for me. And there's been a lot of announcements. I know there's been plenty of announcements already about DC, what they're going to do in the future. A Superman movie, like a sequel to Man of Steel, is in the works, and some Batman stuff, and James Gunn is working on some things. But for me personally right now, I feel like those are just empty words and promises. I'm not going to believe anything until it's really shown, it's in front of me, shown that it's good quality. I'm not going to get overly hyped. I see some people already getting overly hyped about this stuff, and already saying like DC's back, we're just doing great. But not yet. Until they're fully proven themselves with some of these things that are coming up, I'm not going to say that they're back yet. If they can do that, then 100% I'll be yes, this is good. And I hope they do. I really hope they do. You know, overall, my feeling is like if DC does well, I believe Marvel does well too. Everybody does well. It's just comic book movies in general need to be doing well, and they can take out all the other random bullshit movies that are like these other pop culture movies like Avatar. I just have no interest in Avatar whatsoever. I'm not even gonna go see that movie, the sequel in December. I really don't care. I'm sorry if some people do, if some people who are watching you do, that's good for you. Hope you do enjoy it. But for me personally, I don't really care. I didn't like the first one. Thought the story was absolutely boring. Yes, the visuals were good for the time over there. Yes, and I'm pretty sure some of the visuals will be good now too, somewhat. But visuals are not everything for me. I think if you're gonna have good visuals, you have to have at least a somewhat of a interesting story, and I don't think the first one had that. So I'm not really feeling like I need to watch the second one. It's been so long as well since the first one came out. I just don't feel, I lost all interest. I barely even remember it. And I believe they're gonna re-release the first one now in theaters just ahead of the second one, so people can go watch that, I guess. I just don't, why? You re-released a fucking couple of years ago. It's such a cash grab, and it's just, I don't know. Don't really like that. Don't feel like that franchise for me. But anyways, that's overall my thoughts on Black Adam. My initial thoughts. I guess it was somewhat of a review. Uh, my first kind of review, like spoiler. I'll maybe do a more in-depth review later when the actual movie is out. There is a post-credit scene. I'm pretty sure most of you do know what it is already because it's been leaked. But for those who don't, I'm not gonna tell you here. I'm not gonna say anything here. But I'm just gonna say that it's a bit overhyped as well. It's a bit. It's for what it's going out to be. A bit underwhelming. For what they actually show. It is cool for what they do show. It is a cool thing to see what they do be there, right? If I can say that without spoiling it. They do bring back up some certain thing from the past. I can at least say that. And it's cool to see that. But I feel like all they did with that is that's the selling point, like, for this movie, that post-credit scene, right? I feel like that's the biggest highlight of this movie is that, right? For most people, at least, I feel that like that's gonna be the biggest one. They're gonna just wait. Where's the post-credit scene? Come on, get to it. There, haha. I think that's kind of what they're alluding to mostly, and that's kind of sad. That's really sad. But hopefully, at least we'll see how this movie does in box office. On Rotten Tomatoes, right now it's not doing that well, but the critics, I think it sits at like 62 critics right now, reviews, with us, I think somewhere there. Maybe it's changed the number, but around there, between 62 to 100, somewhere there. And it sits at a score of 54 last time I checked at the recording of this video. Just before I recorded this, I checked, it says 54%, which is not the best score, but we'll see. We'll see what the rest of the audience thinks. But for me, not the best. I give it like 6.5 to 7 out of 10. An okay movie, but nothing overly special. Yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. It went longer than it should have been. I'm sorry for that, but at least, hey, there you go. This is my review of it. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. Maybe even before you watch this, because there's something maybe something still will be spoilery for you. I don't know. I hope you do watch this movie before you watch my review. But keep an eye out for the spoiler review as well. Coming sometime, maybe next week or sometime. We'll see if I find that, but at least you have this review, and that's my thoughts. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this review. Leave a comment down below and tell me what you think, what are your expectations for this movie, or if you have seen it somehow as well, tell me what you think about it. I would like to have your comments down below. That will help a lot. Comments on as well. And if you did like this video, leave a like down below, and also subscribe if you're not done that already, and ring the notification bell to get notified every time I upload new videos like this. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's gonna do it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.